So I just saw the new anime Yosuke, which actually the anime series that based on the real life historical figure of the first African American samurai, which in feudal Japan. But this is actually a anime series that actually use Yosuke, but it actually has the remake, which actually has magic in it, which I saw it on Netflix. So it actually has 6 episodes. So I'm going to review the anime series because this is my first time doing a review of a Netflix anime. So here is the review of the series, which episode 1 begins with the war actually happened actually in 15th century, where the samurai warriors battle against the Dark Army. But since I actually say it actually takes place in an alternate reality, they also using robots to fight their battles, in which they using magic as well, which one warrior using his magic to throw arrows without any archers, in which a evil witch who actually goes by the name of Hojo Daimyo, and she actually using her magic to actually boost up the army with dark magic, and she actually and this lord actually is one who actually control the army, in which we actually look at the Honoji temple, where we seen Yasuke actually inform his lord Oda Nobunagi, who actually told him that the Dark Army is approaching the temple, which he also told him that Mitsuhide actually was under the influence of the Hojo Daimyo, knowing that he actually telling him to drink, we knew that his time is actually come. So he actually commit suicide while he told Yosuke to cut off his head in an honorable way, in which he actually did. But it was all a nightmare when we seen Yosuke 20 years later, as he actually leave his past as a legendary Ronin and also a African American samurai behind. And he actually lived his life as a boatsman, goes by the name of Yasan, in which he actually enjoys a normal life within a remote village. Then he was annoyed by a kid named Ichiru, in which Ichiru wants to be a legendary samurai as well. But Yosuke, aka Yasan, actually told him that there are many ways of fighting, but there are also many ways to bring peace in war, in which Ichiru actually have go to try to take the advice that Yasa had given him. But when we see him return home, he see that his little sister Saki actually was sick, in which her illness causing her broken to broken half, which her mother Ichika actually appeared, knowing that her illness have gotten worse, in which we actually see back in 1579, we actually see how Yasuke actually defending a boy who actually was attacked by a samurai, who said that there is no honor for a samurai to attack a child, in which where he comes from, it is their duty to protect children, which we knew that Yasuke actually was impressed by Nobunagi Rinka, who actually was impressed. So he decided to become a samurai warrior by him, in which he'd given his name, which the name has officially stuck. So we actually see how he was approached by Natsumaru and her little brother, who actually was earlier insulting a samurai who said that he has no honor, in which we knew how Yosuke actually remembers the past until we seen Ichiro actually tells him that they need a doctor for Saki, in which Ichika actually informs him that her illness have gotten worse, and he refused to go to the north, which Ichiru said that he has no honor, in which Yasuke told him that he doesn't know about honor for anyone who's prepared to die, in which he has a change of heart, saying that he will take them to the doctor, in which he told him about the illnesses that he's seen, but he never seen one before. So we knew that Yosuke actually informs Ichika about the necklace that he actually seen familiar. Just then, we see a group of Ronin actually appeared. One of them is actually having a robot body, and then the other is also a African American descendant. Because we knew how Yosuke is actually fighting them back, which they using magic, until we actually see Saki using her powers when her mother was injured. But we knew what this all actually means. So episode one actually show how Yosuke actually show honor to his lord by killing him. So this actually takes place on the real life story, which we knew how this actually turns out. Which he lived his life as a boatman going under the name Yasun, and he decided to take Ichika and Saki to the doctor for her. But now we're gonna see what's gonna happen on episode two. So we actually see part two of how Yosuke survived the encounter, which we knew how he was actually washed up on the other side of the river. Which we headed right back on actually 1681, where Nobunaga actually explained about the robotic power armor that was used to conquer the lands, in which he told him that knowledge is power, and he will never actually use those suits. In which he actually told Yosuke that he wanted to unite Japan. However, he told Mitsuhide to actually take Natsumaru and Yosuke towards the Inga clan, where they will make peace, knowingly that he said that they will not accept Yosuke for who he is. Now we knew how we seen back to the present, where Yosuke actually met Saki, where we actually seen how Ichika has not survived the attack, but knowingly how he said that past is the income of the future, which he wants to know where Saki came from, which we headed back to where the past of the Inca clan, in which the general asked Mitsuhide to bring Yosuke to them, in which he told them to lay down their weapons to actually make peace. But now we've seen how they will allow peace, as they will not allow Yosuke. So he has no choice but to fight the samurais in a bloody battle, in which he actually cut down the general. Which in the celebration we've seen how Yosuke was given a toast by the other lords, including Nobunaka, who actually is proud of Yosuke, in which we seen Mitsuhide that servants will always be servants. That is their old way. In which we seen the four assassins who actually work by a man who's a priest, in which he actually asks a villager who is Yosuke is, in which he actually kills him by snapping his neck. However, Yosuke brings Saki back to the village, saying that only her mother know where the doctor is, and since she's gone, he cannot take her to that doctor. Now we knew how she was upset, which caused her powers to manifest, which the priest actually appeared in the bar with the assassins, knowing that she told him the story of how Saki was found by Ichika, in which she stole her after he found her, because it was a prophecy said that a child with special powers would appear to help unify his country, which is Europe. But now he actually has sent his assassins to capture Yosuke. In a battle in the bar, we knew how they tried to capture him instead of killing him, in which Yosuke was actually outmatched by the assassins, but we knew how the priest actually kicked him in his face to knock him out. Knowingly how we see that we actually don't know where Saki is. So we actually see how Nobunaki wanted to unite Japan by getting rid of the old ways and try to introduce to a better Japan, a greater Japan. But they will not accept Yosuke. I mean, I don't know how the old way is, but I'm actually thinking that we see how Yosuke have used his sword in a first battle, but the four assassins revealed the work for a priest. So we knew what's going to happen on episode 3. So we actually see the preacher, goes by the name of Abraham, actually has his four assassins to take Yosuke in chains. So we knew that he actually lied to the villagers about Yosuke killing Ichika, which he actually said that he was sent by God to find Saki, but knowingly that he lied about Yasuke killing Ichika, which Ichiro actually decided to take his hatred out on Yosuke because he actually told him to forget about him and save himself, which we see how Saki is actually using her powers knowingly that Abraham's sending two of the assassins, Nikita and Haruto, to find Saki, which we seen how she using her powers to actually escape, which she fell into a fish cart to actually hide Nikita's scent smell. But knowingly in the present, we see Yosuke actually training with Natsumaru. Knowingly, they were actually returned to the field to actually rest for the battle against Hitori Hanzo, which Natsumaru actually met up with a samurai while Abraham continued to torture Yosuke to find the whereabouts of Saki, which he using brass knuckles, and he also actually using his powers, which revealed to be a mutant. Which we see how Saki actually found Ichiru, who actually told her about what happened, which she actually said is all lies. By which we seen how she used her powers to knock out Ichiro, but we've seen how Nikita and Haruto actually found her, but she used her powers to restrain them to show them where Yasuke is, which in the past, in the Tosho Iga war, we've seen how the Lord found Hitori Hanzo, and during the battle, we've seen how Natsumaru's necklace matched the symbols of the Ika clan, which she actually working for the other clan, but during the battle we seen Yosuke killing her and beg for forgiveness, which we see Saki actually appeared with the assassins actually get ready to rescue Yosuke, knowingly that we seen a battle which Abraham actually transformed to his mutant form, knowingly how we see how the battle actually rages on. But we knew how this battle actually will end when Yosuke actually using a metal beam to kill Abraham. But the assassins have gotten their reward. Knowingly, they let Yosuke and Saki go, in which Yosuke actually went to the assassin with African descent, and he actually thanks him for not killing him. However, he did say that if he ever see him again, he actually said likewise, in which is kind of like brothers watching brothers, in which Saki had taken Abraham's necklace knowing that she actually took back her mother's necklace, in which we seen a witch goes by the name of Yamino Daimyo actually see that Abraham has failed as a new power will rise. So we actually knew how this actually takes to the backstory of how Yosuke actually killed Natsumaru, knowingly how he actually kills his friend, and she actually say not all, but knowingly how Saki saved Yosuke and the assassins have gotten their money, knowingly they no longer working for Abraham. So we're going to see what's going to happen on episode 4. So we actually see the daimyo actually knew that Saki's powers would be great. So she sent out her lieutenant Koro Saka out to find her, in which she actually gave her the powers that she needs. But we actually see how Yosuke waking up, which Saki is wearing his helmet from his past as a samurai, knowingly how she actually using her powers as well. But we knew how she actually needed him to take her to the doctor, a doctor named Maurice, which we knew how we seen that he told her that travel by river is dangerous. So she actually is going with him, in which she actually will travel through road as well, in which we see them packing up, and Yosuke has shaved his face, in which she actually using the vase and broke it, revealing his katana. As soon as they actually leave, they knew that Saki didn't get this chance to say goodbye to Ichiro, who knew that he wouldn't be hurt because of her powers, which Ichiro's father wants to know where Saki is, in which Kurosaka actually appeared to ask where the girl is, in which they knew that they would be followed, so they actually traveled by the forest, knowingly how Saki looking at the soldiers looking for her, but Yosuke actually looking at his sword when night falls and actually reflect on the past that he tried to forget. knowingly that the villagers would be attacked by the daimyo's army, which he actually killed the soldiers. But Kurosaka actually appeared. Using the powers that the daimyo actually gave her, we knew that she would actually fight back against Yasuke. However, when she was about to kill him, after she was stabbed by Yosuke, but his past actually reflected of what he remembered. But he was actually saved by Saki, who using her powers to destroy the dagger, which she retreated, knowingly how they couldn't find the doctor. But Yosuke said that the doctor found them, and he introduced her to Morisuke. So we knew that they knew each other as samurai warriors. The same warrior who uses powers to lift up the arrows with telekinesis and reflect it, which he actually trains future generations of samurai to actually use to lead the rebellion. But we see how Daimyo is disappointed that Kurosaka didn't find Saki, so he killed her by taking her powers away, as another lieutenant actually appeared, which she gave him her powers. As soon as Yosuke actually leave, he knew that Saki is in good hands, but knowingly that injustice will not actually bring peace, and Yosuke said that it will actually will bring more injustice. Knowingly how they will actually part ways, we knew that it won't be enough to actually fight against the daimyo's forces when the soldiers came and killed him as well. Knowingly how Yasuke will fight back against daimyo's forces after she removed Kurosaka's powers. But we see how Yosuke and Saki met Morisuke, Yasuke's friend, who also fought in the war with Nobunaga, which we see how they used to be friends. So we're going to see what's going to happen on episode 5 as we see with only 2 episodes left. So we see Yasuke actually came back knowingly that the daimyo's forces are on their way, which means that they're trying to find a plan to drive her back. So we knew how Yosuke is going to come up with a plan. However, we've seen Saki is being attacked by the daimyo, who actually is in the astral plane. But knowingly how she is from ancient times, but we see how Yasuke has took up his old armor and decided to fight back against the daimyo's forces, which the Dark General actually revealed himself as Mitsuhide, which we see how he joined the daimyo, knowingly how he will fight back against Yasuke for following Nobunaga's old teachings, in which we see Morisuke enters the astral plane to rescue Saki, but the daimyo actually appeared and battled him within the astral plane, knowingly how the two of them will battle for Saki, which she actually woken up knowingly that she's still in the astral plane, in which she actually was told by Mosuke that if she's taking control, her powers will become hers, and she will cease to exist. Only she has the power to draw back the daimyo, knowingly that she actually had to tap in her life force, knowing how she will fight against the daimyo, which she's fight to save Yosuke, but she actually drove back the daimyo. But knowingly how the war rages on as she's returned, so she actually brought back the assassins from Abraham to actually fight against the daimyo, in which she actually used an agreement to pay them, which we see Ashikawa saw that the arrow killed her, which Haruto sensed something is wrong, which we see how Yosuke killed Mitsuhide, knowingly how she actually knew that the daimyo is pissed, which means that Haruto has self-destruct himself to buy them some time. Then Nigita actually used her beast form to fight the daimyo's army, knowingly how she was killed as well, in which Yosuke actually takes Saki over to the other side, knowingly that he cannot defeat the daimyo by himself, which the last assassin, Arghoja, actually decided to fight back, which Morisuke actually knew that Saki is their last hope, knowing how she will actually fight back against the daimyo. So we actually see how Yosuke put on his old armor and fought up against the Dark General, who is Mitsuhide. So we knew that the battle actually rages on, in which the daimyo has actually sent her army to fight back, which we're gonna see what's gonna happen on the final episode right now. So we actually reached the final episode of Yosuke, the anime series. So we're gonna see how all of this actually ends on season 1. So we actually see how Morisuke actually using his powers to shield the temple from the daimyo's forces. Now we knew how we seen how Yosuke and Saki actually sneak through the forest, try to reach the daimyo's castle. So we knew how the army had spotted them, and they actually pursuing them. But Saki using the mech to push them towards the river when they crossed the bridge, in which we seen how they reached the daimyo's castle. However, Yosuke decided to go alone without being warned that he cannot defeat her by herself, in which we seen the daimyo use her magic to trick Yosuke into using the Inga's soldiers as the dead warriors. But we also know that she's also using Nobunagi's dead body to trick Yosuke. But now we've seen how he actually will defeat her. But we've seen how Ahoja decided to use his magic to create a projection of a warrior to fight off against a giant monster, which the daimyo used her own soldiers to battle. Which we seen how Saki realized that Yosuke is under a spell, which the only way to free him is to use her own powers against the daimyo, which she was tricked into killing Saki, knowing that we see how she actually tried to save him by using the image of Natsumaru, which she told him that it was all a trick, that the daimyo tried to trick his mind. But we actually see how Yasuke has come back from the mind trick spell, in which we seen Mosuke and Aghoja is prepared to die when their defenses are down. But Yosuke realizes that he cannot defeat the daimyo by himself, so they'll battle together. With her magic, his armor became charged with powers in which he actually get ready to kill the daimyo, in which she actually was no match, even with their combined strength. But we seen how the daimyo was getting ready to kill Saki, but Yosuke actually got in the way, killing him as well, which she using her powers to stop the daimyo, meaning that the daimyo actually die in battle, and everyone actually cheers, which we seen how Saki was upset that Yosuke was dead, but her powers have revived him. However, she told the daimyo, who is weakened from her powers, knowing that she wanted to die, but she said that she is not like her. And Yosuke picked up his sword, saying that the people of this world will decide her fate, knowing that Momosuke is happy that Yosuke and Saki was alright. And of course, Arhoja actually got himself some gold as his payment, in which they made it back to the village, which everyone is actually happy to hear what happened, in which Ichiro actually still her friend, which his parents offer her a place to stay, in which Yosuke actually leaves the village, knowingly how he met up with Natsumaru's brother, who gave him her sword, knowing that he used it in battle, and he tells him that she dies in the battle with honor. As soon as he leaves, knowing that we seen the mid-credit, actually the post-credit scene, where we seen Yosuke actually got him a sword of his own, is actually living his own life. And that's the end of the series. Now, I really love how the anime series that actually based on a historical figure of the African American samurai, which we actually knew how this series really is. So I'm really loving the animation, the theme song, including the characters of the series. So I'm really hoping that we're gonna get to see season 2 of Yosuke. So we're gonna see if we're gonna get season 2. So anyway, like this video, subscribe for more, and comment what you think about the the anime series. You guys can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, and my Facebook page. Until then, this is Anime Guy joining here saying sign out. Laters, and be safe.